All right, so get ready, because today we are diving headfirst into the world of crypto.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically, a platform called Base. It's been causing a bit of a stir lately, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Some are even calling it a silent revolution, which is a pretty bold statement. We've got a stack of really interesting articles here. One of them, this one calls it an echo chamber with like inflated expectations and all that.
Right.
So is it the future of finance or is it all just hype?
I'm excited to break it all down with you.
Awesome. So for anyone who hasn't been glued to the crypto charts 24/7 lately, what exactly is Base and why is everyone suddenly so interested in it?
So in the simplest terms, Base is a blockchain platform. Think of it like a digital ledger, right? But instead of traditional financial systems, it's all about recording transactions in this super secure and transparent way. That's essentially what blockchain is at its core.
Okay, so it's all digital.
Exactly. And what's really interesting is that Base's growth has even got like seasoned crypto folks buzzing, which is saying something.
Wow, so even the veterans are impressed. Well, one of these articles I've got here mentions a pretty staggering number, something like 22 million active users.
Yeah, 22 million active users a month.
22 million a month. That's a lot of people.
That's more than triple the active user base of Ethereum. And they've been around a lot longer.
Wow, that puts it into perspective.
Yeah, Base is clearly attracting users at an incredible rate.
So what's the secret sauce? What's driving all this growth? One of these articles keeps mentioning this thing called account abstraction
Right.
as a potential game changer.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
So in layman's terms,
Okay.
what is that? What's so special about it?
Essentially, they're simplifying how users interact with the blockchain, which can be pretty complex. You know, it used to be that online banking was such a hassle with those physical security tokens.
Yeah, I remember those.
Account abstraction is like aiming to streamline that whole process, but for crypto.
Oh, I see. Making it more user-friendly.
Exactly. Much smoother for everyday users.
So you're saying you don't need to be a cryptography expert to use it?
Right. Precisely.
That makes sense, because I could definitely see how that would attract a wider audience.
For sure. That's a huge part of their growth. It's about removing those barriers to entry and making crypto more accessible to everyone.
Okay, so easier to use, but how does that tie into this whole silent revolution thing?
It's about changing how we think about digital ownership and transactions.
Okay, right.
And even access.
I see.
If Base pulls it off, and they just might,
Yeah.
this could have a ripple effect throughout the entire crypto space.
Wow.
Pushing blockchain technology into the mainstream.
That's huge. 22 million users is impressive and all.
Yeah.
But how does Base actually stack up against the big players in the crypto world? Are we talking about a potential takeover? Or is that getting a bit ahead of ourselves?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's phenomenal growth, no doubt. But we have to remember that crypto, compared to traditional finance, it's still a relatively small pond.
Right.
22 million might seem like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, it's a drop in the ocean.
Okay.
So they're carving out their space, definitely.
Yeah.
But I think claiming total domination might be a bit premature.
Right. So maybe hold off on buying that private island just yet.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
Right. So maybe hold off on buying that island for now. But it sounds like Base is definitely one to watch. Which leads us to that other article you sent. The one that wasn't quite as, shall we say, enthusiastic. They called Base an echo chamber. What'd you make of that?
Yeah, the echo chamber concern. It's something to think about for sure.
Right.
It's not unusual, right? You get these passionate communities online, especially in the crypto world, and they get excited about something, and it can kind of snowball a little.
Right. Everyone's hyping each other up.
Exactly. But it's important to zoom out a bit, look at the bigger picture. Like the article mentioned that Google searches for Bitcoin, just generally.
Oh, right. Yeah.
They're down, which could suggest that maybe mainstream interest in crypto overall
Is waning a bit.
Yeah, potentially.
That is interesting. So if people are less interested in Bitcoin generally, is Base's popularity just a case of a smaller but very enthusiastic group?
It's possible. But there are other things to consider too.
Okay, like what?
Well, there's this thing called the Fear and Greed Index.
Right, the Fear and Greed Index.
It tries to measure the overall sentiment of the market, you know.
So how are people feeling?
Exactly. And right now, It's leaning towards greed,
Greed. All
which
right.
basically means people are feeling generally,
Bullish.
bullish.
Okay, so for those of us who aren't familiar with the whole fear and greed index thing,
Sure.
what does that actually tell us?
So it's not just about individual excitement, right? It's more like it's reflecting broader market trends
Okay.
when it points towards greed like it is now. It suggests that, yeah, there might be some hype-driven investment, but there's also genuine confidence, a belief that the market has potential, you know?
Okay, so not just blind optimism then.
Ex-
But if we're talking about Base's long-term potential, there's another piece of the puzzle we haven't touched on yet, the Coinbase connection.
Yeah.
This isn't just some, fly-by-night startup.
Right.
We're talking about Coinbase here.
Yeah, Coinbase is a big deal.
Huge.
They're one of the most established, most trusted cryptocurrency exchanges out there.
Yeah, globally.
So their involvement with Base, it sends a strong signal.
Like a vote of confidence.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
It adds legitimacy, and infrastructure, resources.
Yeah.
Things that most young platforms can only dream of.
Right, so it's like having a seal of approval from one of the biggest names in the business.
Exactly.
That has to count for something, right?
It definitely does. Coinbase isn't just lending their name, they're putting skin in the game.
Right, they're invested.
Exactly. Which carries a lot more weight than just like a pat on the back,
For sure.
This could be a sign that Base is here to stay.
Not just a flash in the pan.
Yeah, it could be a sign of things to come.
It's like Coinbase is saying, hey, we think this is a real deal.
Yeah, exactly. And it goes beyond just, thinking it's a good idea.
Right.
Coinbase has the infrastructure, the tech, the experience.
Mm-hmm.
They know how to help a platform like Base actually scale and navigate the, let's be honest, pretty complex world of crypto.
Yeah, it's not exactly straightforward, is it?
Not at all. Ha ha ha.
So, taking it all in, right? The user growth, this account abstraction tech, the Coinbase connection, does it all add up to Base actually pulling off this silent revolution? Right.
Or
is it still too early to say?
It's a bold claim, no doubt.
Yep.
But they're making a pretty convincing case, I'd say.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, they're challenging the way things are usually done.
Right.
They're laser focused on making it easy for people to use.
That seems to be a big theme with them.
Definitely. And they've got some serious backing.
Right, with Coinbase.
Exactly. If they can handle the, let's face it, inevitable bumps in the road.
There are always bumps in the road, especially with crypto.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They could be leading the charge.
In terms of...
A bigger shift towards, really widespread blockchain adoption.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, if Base keeps growing like this, and this whole account abstraction thing takes off,
Yeah.
could we see a complete change in how we think about online transactions in general? Digital ownership, all of it.
It's a lot to consider.
It really is.
I mean, that's what makes Base so fascinating.
Yeah.
Are we watching a major player emerge? One that could, genuinely reshape the financial landscape?
Mm-hmm.
Or will it get caught up in the, the volatility?
The hype.
Exactly. The hype that we always see with crypto. Only time will tell, I guess.
I guess so.
But it's definitely a story worth keeping an eye on.
Absolutely. Well, there you have it. Base
Base.
is making waves, attracting users like crazy, and it's sparking a lot of debate in the crypto world, to say the least.
For sure.
Silent revolution or just another flash in the pan? It's got our attention, that's for sure.
And remember,
Yeah.
stay informed. Be a little skeptical of the hype.
Always good advice.
And do your own research.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So what do you think? Is Base the future of finance, or are we getting a little carried away? Head over to our social media and tell us what you think. Until next time, stay curious and keep on diving deep.